We'd been married about a month, and that particular evening, had a beer with my buddy Bob there, and Gina's at home, and she's fuming. And she's like, "Where were you? Where?" I go, what do you mean, where was I? I was just at the club, you know, I was playing racquetball. I had dinner with Bob and Sue, and what's bothering you, honey?
Joe was terrified of getting locked into being the stay-at-home dad because he didn't have that job that he would go to every day. So instead of being there, he would go work on his tan at the beach when I was still trying to take care
Well,
of
come on, it's not that trite.
When I retired, I was, project manager handling big projects. So when I retired, I thought, what am I going to do? And so I thought I'd help. I noticed, Cheryl, when you're doing stuff around here, you need some help in the way of organizing efficiency. And aren't you lucky now I'm home and I can help you do that?
I can help you clean the house.
I started to put a spreadsheet on tasks and timelines, and can you believe she didn't appreciate that?
I think what happened to us is not uncommon. You have some sort of expectation, even if you can't articulate what it is, about what a marriage is going to look like. And then you have kids, and that's that first time where you really are asked, it's demanded upon you, right? To sacrifice your own life, your hopes, your dreams. What I sensed was this, we're growing apart. I am not doing it for her anymore. She doesn't love me for who I am. It was all these very painful conversations and discoveries, and we just really grew apart. And that is not uncommon. People don't understand this, that in a
Well,
young...
at that time, we didn't know it wasn't uncommon.
No, and we didn't have parents around us to say, hey, it's okay, this is a really tough time, we'll help you out. So we really thought we made a giant mistake. And I thought, how do we go back? How do we return? I think maybe it was inspired, I don't know what it is, but it was be good friends. Just try to be good friends. And it was that decision to say, okay, I don't even like this person right now, but I can act on love and what it's supposed to be and look like. And it wasn't an overnight thing, but it was a movement in a new direction to come back together. And to me, it really stemmed from just the idea of what would a good friend do?
One of the things that I learned very early in our marriage was the importance of humility. That really, really being able to exercise an authentic humility in order to love in the best way that I could. So that's been a lesson that I keep learning.
Doug and I have had the pleasure of preparing couples for marriage. And I said, there's always going to be that one thing that you guys have to solve in your relationship. And for us, to me, I always thought money was always attention for us. Doug has a good sense of money, which I do not. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I had this aha moment, and I realized that I need to record the checks in the checkbook.
Or let me know when you use a credit card so I know to pay it.
Yes, that's a big one. So it's really the communication.
When we were first married, I think our biggest conflict was over when we went to bed, which is funny because now 30 years later, it's totally reversed.
It's totally reversed.
So I was in grad school right after we got out. So I was up late studying. And she's like, but my idea of like being married is we go to bed together. And she was getting upset with me. And I didn't know why until she finally, one thing we learned is like, don't just sit and stew on it, just say it, right? Just tell the other person what's bothering you. Don't say it in some angry, nasty way, just say it, matter-of-factly, right? So she was like, so she tells me this, is, yeah, I'm getting upset, and the reason I'm throwing off all these vibes is because you're not going to bed when I'm going to bed. I go, oh, okay. So I just started going to bed with her, and then when she'd fall asleep, I'd get up and then spend 2 or 3 hours more reading,
Yes,
and I'd come back to bed, and she was fine.
In between John and the birth of Ben, my dad developed cancer, lung cancer. I was flying back with John all the time to see my dad. Joe was doing his thing, and I was like, you're not coming along with me. My dad's really sick, why aren't you coming? And I remember I went home and I knew my dad was dying, and I wanted to leave John at home with Joe. Joe was, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was concerned about having John, and if he were to get a call to go do a show or something, what was he going to do with John? So I brought John with me home, and I remember thinking, this is so wrong. You know, I just need the freedom to be with my dad. And I came back after my dad passed away, and we were in Santa Monica, and I remember sitting on the side of the bed and telling Joe, I can do this alone. We have to figure this out, but I know that I can do this alone. Do I want to? No, I don't want to. Can I? Yeah, I can. I can do this alone. And so that was just a really horrible time in our relationship, a very, very painful, difficult time.
It's this idea of being considerate of the other person, you know, and being in a life together with them. And really, I think that's really important in a marriage, you know, is to be empathetic and considerate of the other person. And it doesn't always come naturally to guys, I think, sometimes, you know. You're just being open to that, I think, is a really important thing for a marriage.
They are not mind readers. Don't let things get pent up. Just let them know and get it off your chest. Like, this is what's bugging me. Not 3 months from now and we're gonna have a big blow up because I've been keeping it, you know, suppressed. But this is bothering me, so let's talk about it now, so that it's not a big issue.
I remember distinctly walking through a doorway, and you know, it's kind of like two people walking through a doorway, like, don't touch me. And I remember Joe just stopping and looking at me. He said, can we just be kind to one another? Can we just focus on just be kind? Let's just be kind to one another. And I thought, I can do that. I'm kind to my girlfriends, I'm kind to friends, I'm kind to strangers. I can be kind to you. And that's really what made us come back around.